Project Zomboid is one of the most brutally difficult zombie survival games ever created. Instead of playing a Rambo-style super soldier who can do anything, you are just a regular person trying to learn and adapt to this new way of life. Good luck, because you're going to need it. And to spice things up even more, the developers decided to release the unstable test branch of Build 42, which has added a host of new gameplay features like animal husbandry, crafting changes, and it's even reworked most of the game's balance. So with the world now deadlier than ever, I thought it would be a great idea to see if I could beat Ambiguous Amphibian's record of surviving the game without ever leaving your house. In his wonderful video, he managed to survive 3.5 days inside a house until, after constructing a cute farm, he overestimated his zombie fighting skills and eventually died. I spent a long while analysing his video and realised that even with the farm, his character would have most likely still died of starvation. So my goal is to use all of the new overpowered glitches and bugs to help me beat Ambiguous Amphibian's record. Can I do it? Well, hop into the comment section and make your prediction. But first, a word from today's majestic sponsors. It's a game I've sunk thousands of hours into, presenting War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle battler ever, with 2,500 vehicles from 9 major nations, and Sweden is there too. It is free to play on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. It covers 100 years of vehicular warfare, and it's all mapped out in glorious realistic graphics and authentic sound effects, so that when you detonate a tank's ammo supply, your brain starts producing happy chemicals. It even has crossplay, meaning you can curb some Xbox One players on your 4K Ultra Graphics PC Master Race setup using an ultra lightweight gaming mouse. But it gets even better, as you can customize your vehicles and modify them to be perfectly historically accurate or be the silliest plane in the sky. Looking at you, Potu. There are 70 million other players you can surprise with the most realistically detailed bush tank the world has ever seen. And best of all, if you try out the game using my links as a new player or you haven't played in 6 months, you will receive a large bonus pack of premium vehicles, decorations, and much more for a limited time only. So what are you waiting for? Go and have some fun in War Thunder on any platform using my majestic link. Onwards with the video. But what are the rules for today's challenge? Very simply, I can't leave my house. AA in his version builds a rooftop garden, which I think is too ethically dubious for the challenge, so none of that. I also can't expand my house by building new walls, and I can't use dubious teleportation glitches to reach well beyond the house to loot containers. This is going to be very difficult. So I needed to create an ultimate survival expert, the kind of man who's not afraid of thriving in impossible scenarios as a true hero of humanity. Presenting Barry McCockiner. Barry is a character that is well designed for our restriction of not being able to leave the starting house. He is terrified of the outdoors, drives cars really slowly, and he is so disorganized and slow at moving equipment that he would be terrible on speedy loot runs. As we will never drive a car or have to rapidly move items around, these debuffs are basically 3 points. For perks, I made Barry fast at reading, fast at learning, and a skilled whittler, who was a park ranger before all of this collapsed. This gives us some great bonuses for trapping, which is how I hope to be getting most of my food. Veteran players of the game will immediately start panicking at my mention of trapping, and yeah, we'll get to all of that later. Barry spawns into a cozy house in Rosewood, a settlement consisting of incredible loot. It has a fire station, police station, and prison, which all have brilliant rare loot spawn potential. Barry, however, cannot leave the boundaries of his home. So whilst the world might be filled with goodies, we're going to have to make do with everything that this house has to offer. We have a kitchen, TV, storage room, garage, laundry room, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a downstairs gym and recreation space. And best of all, because we live out in the woods, we're much less likely to be assaulted by the undead. As we are so restricted from the normal gameplay loop, we have to think outside of the box to survive. Food and water will run out quickly, as our house will have a small finite supply. Whilst water does come from the taps, it will eventually shut off along with electricity. There are some creative constructions we can do to secure a food and water supply, but we lack the experience and levels. Normally a player would just farm experience by, say, disassembling radios to get electronics experience, house. However, I can't leave my house to find new radios or find new furniture, so if I disassemble everything in my radius, I probably still won't level up and I'll just have nothing to sit on. So yeah, how on earth are we even meant to level up? Am I just going to remain as a low-level snack for the undead? Don't worry, the grand American pastime of spending all of our time in front of the TV is here to save the day. The Life and Living channel is a station that will air one-off shows that can give lots of experience in short periods of time. However, each show airs only once, meaning if you miss the show, you miss the experience. I made sure to make Barry a fast learner so that we get some extra experience from the shows. However, even with this advantage, our first cooking show only gives us 1.5 levels. Not bad considering it was just a single noodle soup recipe, but to achieve a higher level of cooking skill without burning through our limited food supply, I need to engage in a little bit of creative thinking. Remember that Build 42 is currently unstable and in testing. Well, I am the Spiffing Brit, a man who loves to break things, and that means that we're going to break this chicken noodle soup recipe. There exists a check in the game to make sure that you cannot watch the same show twice. This is to prevent you from getting double experience and exploiting the game. However, thanks to the update, this check is reset when you exit the current game and return to the menu, resulting in a gloriously perfectly balanced situation. So let's back out, load on in again, and Barry, why are you melted into the sofa? But look, the TV is playing, and wow, it's the cooking show! Wow, I'm getting a sense of deja vu. Now, if I check the skills section, you can see that we have the experience from our first TV show, and when we start enjoying the repeat, oh dear game, I don't think you should be giving me that. As the show itself says, soup fixes everything, even my woes of never being able to learn a new skill. Who knew I could become a Michelin star chef by just watching the same episode of Hell's Kitchen on repeat for a few hours? It's magical. Now, cooking is useful, but it's not going to save us. Life and Living has 2 more shows that we can watch today, one for carpentry and one for fishing. As we're never going to leave the house, fishing is a completely useless skill, but carpentry, oh, we're going to want as much of that as possible. So to maximize our gains, we need to hope our house has an experience boosting book. It's time for a tour and loot of the house. I find no books in the lounge. The kitchen reveals that I have a dead mouse in the cupboard, which is actually a good thing. Look, it's tasty, nutritious food. Don't judge me, us Brits still eat like we're in the Blitz. In one storage room, I find this incredible set of ice hockey shoulder pads and a stick. So should a home invasion happen, I'll be even better defended. You might be asking me, why don't I just use the gun that I spawned with? This is because guns make a lot of noise, and whilst we are in a rural setting, I don't want to attract more undead to my location. So I'll be placing Mr. Gun on this table and hopefully we'll never need him. The most important loot is an alarm clock. This lets me tell the time of day, which we need to know so that we can watch our favorite TV shows. As it's 9:30, we have a little while to prep before woodcraft at midday, so Barry spends the morning organizing his supplies. All the food goes into the fridge, even the dead rodent, and all the tools into our cupboard. In here, I find some radically cool shades, so of course our stud muffin Barry is going to wear those. Rock on, dude, you look great. With some time left over, I sit in front of the TV and read a book about hunting. This taught us how to make a stick and box trap to catch wild animals. Anyway, it's almost time for woodcraft, the most important day 1 activity. A bit more reading later and we're ready for the main event. Wow, I love woodcraft. Yeah, let's go. Teach me how to do flooring. Yeah, this is the good stuff. We get 1 level up off of this, but you know we can't stop there. So 1 quick exit to the menu and look, woodcraft's back. With our carpentry skill increased, I took the opportunity to use our limited resources and knowledge as a park ranger to create 2 basic snare traps. This now gives us a chance to catch wild animals. Because I can't salvage food and this house has no seeds, I can't farm for food. So this is basically the only way we can survive long term. We could potentially try and lure undead towards us, hoping that they have food on them. However, in the current build of the game, zombies are much harder to deal with in extended fights. As it turns out, swinging a massive heavy hockey stick and bludgeoning meat sacks with it will make your muscles strained. Whilst I don't want to have to fight the undead, it is unfortunately inevitable, so we should probably try and improve our physical fitness. This is a difficult thing to pull off in the apocalypse. Exercising makes you slow and easy pickings for the undead. Plus it makes you work up an appetite, which in a world that is no longer making protein bars is a risky thing indeed. Anyway, we can worry about that later. For now, I want to finish reading my electrical book. Just as I'm about to finish my electrical book, we get greeted by the survival show teaching us how to fish. No point having Barry use a time shift exploit here, as the poor guy's never going to see a natural body of water again. Anyway, we've finished our book and now have a ×3 multiplier to electrical experience. All it cost us was half a day of intense reading. It's now getting late and Barry is hungry, thirsty, and absolutely bored out of his mind. So I pop some frozen chips in the oven and start getting sad as I realize that I might be the last living person in the world. Barry reads a catalog to try and deal with his boredom, but he is so sad he holds the entire thing back to front, and he's still depressed. Worse yet, even the chips fail to make us feel full and happy. Okay, exercise. Let's try and do some macho manly activities that Barry will enjoy to raise his spirits. Exercising is a great idea as it can make us stronger so we deal more damage. However, it also injures our muscles, and after a short span of time, the game stops you from exercising because you're in too much pain. However, I have a cheese strategy to bypass it. You see, if we make Barry sit down on the couch and then start exercising, we are technically resting whilst doing our reps. So if we check, yes, we're getting fitness and the strength experience, but we're also locked into a weird animation. Whilst we're in this animation, the game physically can't stop us from exercising. I'll also pop on the sports channel for some extra macho entertainment. Anyway, Barry, let's begin exercising and transforming our body from the comfort of our own sofa. Right, it is now 10 PM, and normally you can't exercise when you're exhausted, but hey, Barry is using his ultimate sofa powers and has exceeded the limitations of the human form to achieve what would take a normal person days of practice in just a few hours. We're still miserable and bored, but hey, it's late and I want to get up early for the cooking show, so let's set an alarm and get some sleep. A brand new day. It's 4 AM, so we have lots of time to achieve our goals. I want Barry to do some crafting today, but also to watch the TV cooking, carpentry, and agriculture shows. So Barry wakes up, drinks from the sink, and then devours half a loaf of bread like a machine. He does spend an awkwardly long time looking at the dead mouse in his fridge, and he decides to name his one and only animal companion, Stuart. Well, it's nice to have a friend in the apocalypse, even if he doesn't say much. Anyway, the morning is going to be spent largely on trying to cure our depression. So that largely involves reading magazines and watching TV. Who knew the cure for sadness was the lifestyle of an 80s teenager? With sadness mostly eliminated, I run around the house with a screwdriver breaking down random appliances. This turns out to be a stupid idea as I still get pitiful amounts of experience and regularly fail to get any usable items. Anyway, it's 6 AM, so that means it's time for the cooking show. This week we get to learn about rabbit stew, and then after a quick exit to the menu, we get to learn about rabbit stew. It's a good thing we repeated this because without the exploit, we would not have been able to reach cooking level 3 on day 2. A little bit of tidying later, and it's time for my early morning chair burpee extravaganza. We managed to hit the peak regularity in less than 24 hours of starting our fitness journey. Now that's impressive. Of course, Barry's body is now in absolute agony, and once again, he's feeling very depressed. The solution is the brand new TV station Pause TV that offers incredible videos of happy bunnies. Now, you might say a lone man living in the woods with no humans and a dead mouse to keep him company might be going insane when the only form of media they consume are repeat cooking shows and children's music videos. But I say yes, he is definitely going insane. Well, one riveting episode of Hug Bunnies later, and we're now slightly less depressed and just dealing with the agony of my intense exercise routine. To cheer him up, I decided we should embody a face of happiness and joy for the world to see. So that means a quick application of makeup and bam, we're now a clown. Perfect. Maybe when we now look in the mirror, we won't get so depressed. Or maybe we just made everything worse. Well, anyway, our favorite carpentry show is finally on and we need to watch it. Oh cool, we're going to learn how to make walls. Oh wait, I'm not getting any experience. Game, why am I not getting any experience? Okay, well, remember how I said this is an unstable build? Well, that means that whilst I can treat the game unfairly for an advantage, the game can do the same to me. And no matter how hard I try, this particular episode of Woodcraft simply doesn't provide any experience at all. I mean, surely it must be a bug. No. After a quick Google, I discovered that the developers decided to cap the level you can gain from watching TV, meaning that no matter how many times we exploit, as soon as we hit level 3 of any skill, the TV stops providing it experience. Curse you dastardly developers for nerfing my favorite leveling method. I will have my revenge one day. Soon after lunch, I try and read some literature to ease the boredom. This is when I make the shocking discovery that my very own ID card apparently contains nothing of interest. Poor Barry is a boring chap, it would seem. Well, at least Stuart likes him. Now, I am actually in a really awkward situation because I have a huge amount of exploits that I am able to pull off in this latest version of the game that would make this challenge very easy. For example, if you favor favorite nails in a backpack, you can use them infinitely without depleting them. However, to use nails, I need a backpack. I don't have these items, but there is a chance that zombies will. This means for my long-term survival, I do need to actually fight the undead. However, there are no visible zombies in my vicinity, so I can't exactly shout them over. But I do have a gun, and at some point the helicopter event will happen. Both of these things can cause a lot of noise and result in zombies being drawn to our area. So I have a few days to get my body in prime zombie fighting shape. So an hour of eating far too many painkillers later, I'm finally ready to assume the position and exercise. After 2 hours of near continuous repetitions, I'm exhausted, starving, dehydrated, very tired, extremely bored, and in physical agony. No human should be able to continue. The game should have stopped me. But Barry is no ordinary human. He will become a zombie fighting machine. We did it! At 11:30 PM, after 8.5 hours of exercising, we hit level 6 strength. We could stop as we might be on the verge of death, but I know as soon as we stop, Barry is going to take days to recover, so we need to get all of this out of the way now. Let's go until he collapses.
6 hours later.
Okay, at 3 AM, we are in a state of emergency. Barry is currently dying from exercise. I don't know how, but his health bar is depleting, so we need to rapidly get fed, watered, and start chugging painkillers before we sleep. But whew, the crisis is averted. That was a little bit too close. We could have become the first ever Zomboid character to die from exercising to death. Now, we have burnt a lot of calories, so I make sure to eat some extra food before bed. This helps with gaining weight in Zomboid. As pro tip, it's always better to eat food right before you sleep, as you won't waste those calories on moving around. Also, bonus tip, add a pillow to your bed for a boost to the comfort rating. Sleep tight, Barry. Don't let the bed mice bite. Wait, Barry, it's past 7. It's bloody 3 PM and you're still sleeping. Oh, no. Yeah, it would seem that I exhausted him so much that he's going to become Sleeping Beauty. Okay, finally, just before 5 PM, Barry wakes up, ready to start the end of the day, I guess. Jeez, is it a little bit too obvious that this guy is depressed? So it's back to the kids' TV channel for a show about the moderators, who are some kind of evil fighting force. It's all rather exciting, and it appears to have medically cured Barry's depression. What a miracle. Thanks, Pause TV. Anyway, time for some innovative trapping upgrades. Neither of my traps have yielded anything, so I take some of the beef patty from our fridge and place it inside our 2 traps. My hope is that the beef will attract some new animals that are worth more calories. It's a risky gamble and I hope it pays off, else I will have just wasted some of my food and brought the inevitable starvation to death just a little bit closer. At 6 PM, we pop on the fishing channel and begin our exercise chain again, with the most effective exercise possible, the dumbbell press. It's now 10 PM on our 3rd day, and whilst we could exercise for longer, I want to sleep at a normal time tonight and give an opportunity for our traps to yield some food. The day begins at 3:30 AM after a short night's sleep filled with painkillers. We still awaken in utter agony, but I think that now is the day that we just go all out on exercise. Of course, a quick binge of TV to deal with depression, and a big snack of frozen chips later, we're finally in a state to exercise. Oh wait, no, my character is in excruciating pain and cannot exercise. But is that Mr. Painkiller on the horizon? Yay for yummy pills that allow me to break the game's rules. We can now exercise as much as we like, and once we start, we can't be stopped. All is going well until at 8 AM we hear some machine gun fire in the distance. Do we go help? No, we're never leaving this house. There's a chance that this noise will now lead the undead to our sanctuary, but I can't stop this exercise train once it's started, so we'll stay here and stay exercising. We're halfway to strength 7. Let's keep it up, Barry. Alas, with just 9,000 experience to go, we start physically dying again. A quick drink of water later to cure this moodle that says we're dying of thirst, and we get to watch the exposure survival show. Alright, let's get to bed, guys. We wake up at 6 AM. It's once again raining, and our trap indoors has yielded no food. I'm beginning to think I wasted some of my precious beef. Stuart seems to be hiding from Barry. I guess he knows food is starting to get low, and Barry's exercises are making him hungry. I eat an entire can of soup, which is great fuel, and get ready to finish off our exercise. I think the helicopter event is most likely to happen on day 7, so my plan is to hit strength 7 today, and then spend the rest of the days recovering. Some painkillers ingested, and the life and living channel selected, it's time for the final stretch, if you pardon the pun. And we do it with time to spare before lunch. Look at that, strength 7. What a fantastic situation we find ourselves in. Right, time to rest up and get comfortable, for we need to spend as much time recovering as we can. Oh, okay, I have some bad news. Whilst I was recovering, I decided to do a quick bit of research and discovered my plan of trapping food is impossible, as traps can only activate after you spend at least 1 hour 75 tiles away from them. Now, this house is big, but it's not that big. This is a terrible update, as I don't think we're likely to survive more than a week unless I can come up with a new drastic solution to get food, as all of these traps are completely useless. Okay, well, maybe we can think of something whilst I listen to the news, but all Barry hears is just chaos and that the military is starting to pull out. Worst of all, I'm still hungry even after eating an entire bag of frozen vegetables. This is a dire state of affairs. We finish the day by hitting foraging level 3 thanks to the TV and eat an entire corn before bed. Still, our body is in utter agony from exercise. Maybe one day we will recover, but until then, we can't sleep as I don't want to use up our last remaining painkiller. I spend the time waiting until I'm exhausted by re-dyeing my hair and filling up a few more containers with water. I even find this cute little rubber duck whom I will name Jeremy, and we shall keep him here. To then pass the time some more, I begin dismantling the spare room and fashion myself with this incredibly fancy hat. My oh my, Barry has never looked better. Finally, at 11 PM, we're tired enough to sleep through the excruciating pain. Day 6 is here. This is now the earliest day the helicopter can arrive. And food stocks are down to a bag of chickpeas that I can't actually use, a few remnants of a burger patty, and our bestest friend in the entire world, Stuart. Oh, and let's also not forget the body-aching agony of existence that Barry lives in after exercising more than any living being ever has. The morning is mostly spent with Barry sobbing to himself whilst he watches the world collapse slowly on TV. Finally, at 2 PM, our muscle strain is reduced to minor and our pain begins to subside. This is brilliant news, and it means we're actually close to being in a fighting form. Maybe Barry can survive this. And would you look at that? We're in a fit and healthy shape. Right, with no food and no supplies, it's time to go fishing. Of course, we can't leave our house. We can't actually go fishing either, but we can fire our gun to try and attract nearby zombies. We can hopefully get some much needed loot or food to keep us alive. Let's give it a shot. So Barry stands in his garage and fires off a round into the wilderness to see if we can attract a loot pinata. I stand there, waiting to be greeted by a horde, but nothing happens. No one comes. No one cares about little old Barry in the woods. Well, I'm going to make them care. Barry shouts and screams for half an hour straight. Surely that'll get some attention. Nope. Nothing. We retreat back inside, feeling mightily defeated by the day's events. As a mostly last resort, I try digging in the dirt for worms. Barry finds nothing but cuts and bruises on his hands. At one point, I swear I can hear a zombie just the other side of the wall, but no, it's my brain imagining things. Maybe to try and keep me hopeful. An explosion sounds just before 10 PM, which is never a good sign. Right, let's just go to bed and hope the helicopter comes tomorrow to offer us something. With the end of the video almost upon us, it's important to once again thank today's sponsor, War Thunder, whose link in the description will give you a wonderful bonus pack for new and returning players of 6 months. Go check out the game on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and even mobile. We wake up on day 7, and with only one remaining food source, Stuart, our best friend and mouse confidant. Whilst Jeremy the rubber duck wants us to eat him, I get the feeling he's angling for the #1 delusional friend spot. It's still 2 AM and the helicopter can't arrive till 9 AM, so let's just have a little relax and read until then. We finished the book at 7:30, and now we must try and attract some undead to us. We're starting to get hungry, which makes us weak, which then makes us more vulnerable to the undead. Okay, time for another shot of shooting off into the wilderness. After an hour spent shouting and shooting at trees, nothing happens. I give up and I go back inside. But then, I hear it! The helicopter is here! They finally came! This is it, I grab some more ammo and I start shooting off in the garage, trying to grab the attention of the chopper. Barry starts shouting and screaming, but as we can't leave our house, I don't know if it can see us. Oh no, what if they never see us? What if they can't lead the undead to us? What if I die in the game of Project Zomboid without ever seeing a single zombie? Did this infection even happen, or did Barry just imagine it all himself? Was he delusionally imagining news channels speaking about an infection? Is the helicopter just a police helicopter responding to an armed lunatic in the woods? No, that can't be true. Next thing you'll be saying that Jeremy the duck can't actually talk. After a few hours of flying around, the helicopter leaves to never return again. Oh. The world is coming to an end, my friends, and we haven't even seen the cause of it. I just can't bring myself to eat Stuart. I just can't bring myself to survive. I can't leave my house. I'm too scared. But I know that this is the end. The news channel is reporting that the virus has gone airborne. So I choose to live and die in my house. I fill up the microwave with metal spoons and set it to go, causing a house fire. All that is left is to sit back, relax, and warm my hands as we're slowly engulfed by a blazing inferno. Slowly roasting and crispy, just the way I like it.